Welcome, No Teas. We are now finally live. Excuse us for our technical difficulties, but we thank y'all for waiting. I'm your girl, Gabby.
I'm Veronica.
And I'm Pam.
And tonight we have a very special show. We have some beautiful ladies. It's called Women's Health. Veronica.
Amen. So we wanted to bring the ladies edition to you guys after we had such good feedback from the men's edition. We just wanted to make sure that we put the ladies in the spotlight as well.
That's right.
And gave us a chance to talk about some of the key topics that are really not talked about as much as they should be in the community, especially for our women and our sisters. Okay.
Mhm.
So we're going to go ahead and jump into our first topic, which is hair loss in women. Okay.
Mhm.
And it is a very special honor to have Kyla on our show.
Yay!
Yes. So, Kyla, if you will go ahead and tell the people who, what, where, when, and how.
Absolutely. Let's get to it. So, you guys, my name is Kyla. I'm a certified hair loss specialist, and I'm the owner of My Hair Piece. We provide healthy hair loss solutions to make you feel beautiful inside and out. Just a little bit about me. I've been a hairdresser now for 9 years. I am young, but it's actually
That's all right.
but yeah, so I got started. I've always had clients with hair loss, but my grandmother, she had alopecia. She actually had hair loss in the crown. I'll talk a little bit more about what that type of hair loss is. But so she had hair loss to begin with, and then she got cancer. And so since then, she has passed away. But by being able to help women with hair loss, it just is everything to me, and it reminds me of her, and it's just so special. So I love what I do. And then just a little bit more about me. I do make custom wigs, and I also have products for people with alopecia. Just because there's a really there's not that many out there. You guys can go on my Instagram at My Hair Piece, and all of my information is there. But yeah, definitely, go do that.
And check it out because they're beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I'm
wigs.
really, I love what I do. I'm good at what I do. And, if you're a woman with hair loss and you want to feel beautiful in your skin, and you just want to be able to walk outside and be like, yes, like, and welcome, okay? Period. So I just want to thank you ladies so much for having me. This is such a great privilege. And especially in our community, there's so much misinformation. There's so much information. And sometimes you just don't exactly know what is really the tea. Like, is this going to help me?
Yeah, kitchen chemist.
Period.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So, just to talk a little bit about what hair loss is, what alopecia is. Hair loss is alopecia, and alopecia is hair loss. Alopecia is just the fancy medical term that doctors and professionals use. So that's it. They're synonymous. They're the exact same. Now, there are a lot of different types of alopecia. So just because you go to the doctor and the doctor says, oh, you have this type of alopecia, that so many times in my experience, I've found where people could be able to have answers that would maybe possibly give them hope. They don't have that. The doctor just says you have alopecia and that's it. You don't know what type. You don't know what it's caused from. You don't know if there is any options. Are there not any options? You don't know. And you're sitting up here going through one of the most traumatic moments in your life, and you have no tools. So here's a little bit of tools. So different types of alopecia that I commonly see in our community. Traction alopecia is the absolute number one. Traction alopecia, what is it? Baby, you ain't got no edges.
Yes, we've seen it. I wouldn't even say it. I'll let her say it.
You said it. I didn't. That's what
Yes.
traction alopecia is.
Yes.
And it is so unfortunate. And the thing is, I can talk about it because guess what? I got it, period. Okay. Unfortunately, I whenever I was working in corporate America, we're out now. Okay,
Yes,
period.
yes. Work for ourselves. Work for
But
ourselves.
okay.
Okay.
But whenever I was back in corporate America, there would be weeks on end where I couldn't keep my hair properly, and so I would go and get it braided because it was just easier for me to care for it that way. And in that time period, my hair was braided more tightly than what my hair could take.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe somebody else could have had their hair braided that way and it wouldn't have caused them alopecia. But for me, it caused me traction alopecia. And I have to be very careful to care for my hair properly because otherwise, use it or lose it and it's going to be gone. And I like a little thick, not thin, you know.
I've had that right there. One little braid. She got a little bit too much tension on it.
Yeah.
Pulled it right out.
Yeah, it happens so much. And it's really prevalent in our community. Yes. And honestly, the thing is, with alopecia, everything has to be put into perspective because while there is sometimes where maybe it could quote unquote be prevented because it's like, okay, why is the style so tight? Mm-hmm. Why you got this whole braid on this little bitty strand, you know?
Because you have to get all the edges.
Yeah. But whenever, you know, and that's one of the misconceptions that, you know, to make it look good, you have to do this, and this. But at what cost? Are you compromising the client's hair? Are you compromising their quality of life? And not only that, but sometimes it's just unknowingly. Yeah. It's just we don't know any better, you know? And so it's really unfortunate. But yeah, the traction alopecia, too tight hairstyles is what causes it. You have the thinning normally on the edges, and then it can progress with time. Traction alopecia is one of the type of alopecias, though, that I have seen huge success with. So if you are somebody that's one, like for me, I don't care what I have to do. If for the rest of my life, I have to maintain my hair and keep it healthy and do what I got to do so my stuff can be on thick, then that's what I'm going to be doing. You know, that's just for me. You know, I be looking in the mirror and I be like, oh my gosh, it's thin. Like, I be wanting to cry. Like, but then I use my serum. It's on my, you just go to my, whatever. I tell you guys where to go.
Beautiful packaging.
I use my serum
and
it'll, you know, it makes it get back thick. But it's not that way with all alopecias. However, with me and mine, it is, you know. And that's one of the biggest thing, and that's one of the biggest misconceptions, especially with the hair loss industry, because the hair loss industry, honestly, I don't really know who is doing their marketing, but it's not geared to women with hair loss because women with hair loss don't want products that, why am I going to use this product that's supposed to grow my hair back? Depending on what type of alopecia you have, that might happen or it may not. It depends. And I feel like it's doing a great injustice to a woman with hair loss that's already gone through so much to sit up here and say, oh yeah, here's false hope. And that's what they do.
Yeah, they do.
Yes.
That's what the hair loss industry does. It's not made for us. It's not made for us to have quality of life. It's not for us to be able to feel good in our skin. It's made for them to get a buck. That's my personal opinion.
It's for sales.
It is.
And they're feeding off their fear and their
and
loss.
women that are watching the show, you know, tight to the scalp, pulling your hair doesn't make it look better, and it doesn't mean it's gonna last longer.
Oh, that part.
So that is real miseducation when it comes to our, especially in the Black community.
Yes.
We think the tighter, the better, the longer it's gonna last, and our hair is gonna grow. That is a huge...
I've heard if I pull it tight, it's pulling her hair out from her scalp, and it's like, no, it grows from. I can't.
Misconception.
And that was a baby, and I
that's
guarantee you she has traction.
It's miseducation.
That's just the homemade kitchen stuff that we was taught because we were miseducated. So now that we have the power to educate ourselves, that's what we need to do.
See a specialist.
I don't keep a style longer than a month because I know that my hair gonna do what it need to do, and that's start popping, snapping, cracking off.
And speaking of traction, what about the lace, the glue, removing it?
Baby. Well, see, here's the thing. And okay, while we're in this Okay,
Lot of
so
info.
with the glue, there's a lot of things that can be done safely. For instance, you can have hair loss. Let me not even say that because y'all gonna no
Twist it.
It's okay.
Anyway, so with the glue, you can have glue and it can be done in a healthy manner. However, the maintenance that is required to keep it healthy most of the time is more than what most people can be able to effectively budget. And that's just the truth.
Yeah.
That's just the truth. Because honestly, you have to you really need to go and see your stylist depending on your activity level once every week or two to get a touch up with glue, because that bacteria is sitting there and it is just marinating and creating more bacteria and more bacteria.
Yeah,
and
real.
Yeah.
Most
You got a
ain't
petri
telling
dish
you
on your
that.
hair.
they don't tell you.
No,
They won't tell you.
To your head, you gonna touch it up
In a
and
month,
it's gonna
come
last
back.
2 months.
Yeah, and now you got fungus all
In
over.
a month.
I worked in
months
dermatology,
after
so I've
sewing.
seen a lot of alopecia and I see a lot of fungus. So
Well, and the
Fungus
thing
and
is,
mold.
it grows fungus, all that mold. I mean, it can all happen, And
Y'all smell that.
That's a whole nother. I'll let her finish about the alopecia.
Period.
because
You
that's a
smell.
whole
See,
nother-
we talked about smelling your wind. You don't smell your scalp. It's right here.
No, they don't.
Amen.
if you
Because the
smell
longer
it,
you let
yeah.
it, the longer you let your scalp be dirty, the more your hair grows. That's a whole nother subject.
Wait,
Now, okay,
that.
let's
That's
wait.
why I
But we're
said-
gonna keep on with the.
Can we just
alopecia.
dispel a few common misconceptions?
Yes, please.
If it's tighter, the hairstyle is going to last longer. If I cut my hair, it's going to grow back. What did you just now say?
Oh, if you keep your hair dirty, your scalp dirty.
If you keep your
Because the
scalp
oils
dirty,
or
it's going to
something.
grow. Any
It's gonna
other
grow more.
ones you guys have heard?
As we keep
Only
talking, I
using
know-
conditioner, like
Oh, yeah.
certain, like the sulfate
co-wash.
stuff. Like, what is that? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Okay.
That was, I remember that. That was a while
Yeah,
back,
being
but
in
I
like
remember
natural
that.
hair community is like
2009,
only doing
2010, co-wash.
conditioning and stuff.
Yeah.
No. Okay, you guys, here's the thing. I don't have time to do it right now, but I am going to make a resource for us. It is going to be something. My thing is, I want for my people to be educated and
Yes.
empowered. I'm good, period. Okay. So that means that I have time to invest.
All right.
And that's what we've got to do, because little girls, stop braiding their hair tight like that.
Yes.
Because once you have traction alopecia, it's not going away.
Yeah.
You know, they putting weave in the baby's hair.
I seen
So
that,
I wanted my baby to get her hair dripped up. My stylist said, Gabby,
yeah.
she's 4.
No.
That's gonna rip her little baby hair out. Her hair is fine. Your hair is fine. It's a certain
Yeah.
way you gotta braid your hair.
Yeah.
But again, we thinking her hair was only this big. So I
Yeah.
was like, let me get her some bigness.
But you have a good stylist, because a good stylist, if you come to your stylist and you say, hey, let's do this. If that's not the best choice for you, a good stylist would say, hey, I know you want to go in this direction. These are some other options. Are you open to that?
Come on.
That's what a good stylist is going to do. But we're not taught how to do that. We're not taught how to properly give a consultation.
Mhm.
We're not how to properly, even if somebody comes to me and they've had first of all, a woman with hair loss probably has had a whole bunch of bad experiences.
Yeah.
So they're coming to you and had all these bad experiences, and you don't even know that, you know? So, I mean, there's a lot. But, we dispelled the rumors. Traction alopecia is very prevalent in our community. Alopecia areata is a different type of alopecia. This one is where your immune system actually attacks your hair follicles. Sometimes it comes out in spots. Sometimes it can be like a horseshoe around the back. And it's just it's really horrible. And actually it can progress to where you have alopecia universalis, where you have no hair. I mean, people lose their eyebrows, eyelashes.
Yeah.
So what do we do for that?
For alopecia areata, honestly, for any type of alopecia, any type of hair loss, you have got to have the right perspective. Mainstream media, all this hair loss, this, don't look at them. You need to, honestly, what I would say, what helps me, number one, is God. He holds me down, period, regardless. And then just finding the things that you can be able to do that makes you happy and that makes you feel good. Because at the end of the day, if you have alopecia areata, it's not like with my type of alopecia, with traction alopecia. With traction alopecia, if I use my serum, my hair gonna be thick. With alopecia areata, if I use my serum,
Yeah.
It might not. But the bottom line, you need your hair to be as healthy as possible, and you need to be able to live the best life you can.
So you
it's
have to
about
love yourself.
quality of life. That's why it's inside and out. Because it's not just the out, it's not just the hair.
Yeah, because I think a lot of women, they have their pride and their womanhood tied to their hair.
That's what we're
Yeah.
taught from.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And
Like
in
my
multiple
daughter
cultures,
was
but
bald, and I was
definitely.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah, and people,
Absolutely.
especially in
Yeah.
our community, hair is made to be such a big deal
Mhm.
because number one, we're still holding on to traditions that are not of our culture anyway,
Mhm.
and we're taught
Yeah.
that our natural hair
It's
is
not
not
beautiful.
good enough.
That
So
part.
I know it's nurses watching, and they're like, "Why is this is nurse knows this is not medical?" Yeah, it really
It
is
is.
medical.
It is.
It is. It's a
Because
medical
a lot of
condition.
the alopecia traction as well, when you are taking blood pressure medications,
Mhm.
they thin your hair
Yes.
and they make your hair come out.
Yes.
So you're taking high blood pressure medicine and you're getting tight hairstyles.
Mhm.
You're going to
Absolutely.
have more hair loss than the average person.
Mhm.
Hormones can
Yes.
cause changes in your
Yes.
hair as
Yes.
well.
Yeah.
So with women, we go through a lot of hormone changes
Mhm.
at different stages in our
Yes.
life. So we are greatly affected by so many things.
Postpartum,
Yes,
menopause.
yes, stress.
Stress.
All of these things contribute to hair loss.
Absolutely.
But you guys, I need y'all to go and follow Kyla, My Hair Piece, on Instagram. All of her information is there. My producer is about to shoot me because we have gone over on our time for this
We had
topic.
to get the
And we need
information
to
out.
move on to the next topic. But listen,
No.
thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
all
Thank you
your
guys for having
expertise.
me.
And y'all really need to really seriously go look her
Follow
up.
me on Instagram.
Yes, the
at My
education
Hair
is
Piece.
there. Yes, it
Yeah.
really is.
Tons of education.
You have
all I was just
something?
gonna say, is it spelled My Hair Piece,
He-
or is
he-
there a special spelling?
Yes, it is
Yeah.
a special. The piece is like love, peace, and joy. It's not the other piece. So
Yeah.
My
It's the
Hair
only
Piece.
one.
Help
Yeah.
the old people in the
Yeah.
room.
Yeah.
Baby, I'm
Yeah.
We're
guilty.
going out there
It's
to
not
my
working.
PIE. It's PEA.
It's not pulling up.
Right.
I'm trying.
Well, we're going to go ahead and go into our next topic. And we're going to be discussing Black women dying in childbirth and how preventable it is, and so many of the things surrounding it that aren't being talked about. And when it is, it's very taboo, it's very hush hush. And the experiences that some of us, I know myself, have had coming near death just to give birth.
Yeah.
So the statistics are people don't like statistics, but I'll let you guys go look at the statistics. They are really going up and up and up every year. You can even go to the CDC. Black women really are dying for no reason.
For no reason.
And the major issue is women going into the hospital, going to their doctors and saying, something is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Wow.
hurting.
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't feel right. What you told me this should be, it's not happening. And the doctors,
Yes.
usually not our own ethnicity, they dismiss everything that we're saying
Yeah.
because there are so many misconceptions in the medical field about Black people as a whole. They feel that number one, we have bigger bones, more muscle mass, which that is true. That is a fact. But because of those things, they think that we are supposed to have a higher tolerance for pain.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And so that when we say we're hurting, when we say things are going on, they're like, you're not hurting that bad. You're drug seeking.
Yes.
We're put on
And
the
it
back
happens
burner.
every day.
It
Every
happens
day.
every day. And there are so many single fathers out there because a woman went in to give birth and she never went home with her baby.
Mhm.
So I'll go ahead and tell my story before I get into my feelings. So when I went in to have my baby son, I was on a 4th C-section, to be clear. And that's another thing that they do to us. They
Yes.
send Black women into C-sections so fast.
They don't
Y'all need to
let
start-
you give
us,
have
though.
time.
No,
to-
for
Doctors
us,
are
it's a-
scheduling that,
yes.
because it
But,
works with their
but
life
this is
schedule
the thing.
too.
On other races, they are choosing that. A lot of them don't want to have natural birth. And the numbers are high. I worked for an OBGYN. I'm telling you, like,
I have
it's-
experienced that.
yeah, it's terrible. So I went into labor. First of all, for all my C-sections, I went into labor.
Oh.
What kind of joy is that? I went into labor and he was 2 weeks early.
Oh, wow.
So when I went in, they were like, oh no, it's too early. I'm like, no, it's not too early because I have a short frame. This is a big baby. The doctor had told me he was going to be about 11 pounds at birth.
Wow.
And my body was saying, no, he's not.
Yeah.
We're not doing that. So my body was doing what it was supposed to do and trying to give birth to my son. So they gave me a medication to stop my labor.
Mm-hmm.
So the medication was given to me in the wrong dose.
Mm-hmm.
And so they collapsed my baby's lung. So I had to be rushed into surgery because he wasn't having a very steady heartbeat. His heart rate was dropping. It was going in and out. And I was going into panic mode. I was having a panic attack. And so the doctor came in. My doctor was on vacation. This has happened to me twice out of the time, actually 3 times out of the 4 that I gave birth. My actual doctor did not deliver my child.
Can you talk about what happens? I mean, with your background, whenever your doctor's not there, because I think a lot of us don't know what.
So what happens
that
is, so
situation
when
is
you
like.
go into labor, you usually go to the hospital. The doctor's office will tell you to go there. So what happens when your doctor is not there? There's always an on-call doctor for every discipline at the hospital. And so that's what they do. They reach out to the on-call doctor and they have them come around, look at your chart and tell you what's next or what's best in the situation. So
If your
I'm a
physician's
nurse.
in a group,
Mm-hmm.
then the group covers.
Yes,
Right.
So it could be somebody in the office. It could be somebody you've seen, and it may not. For me, it was a doctor I never seen in my life. He was not in the practice, and he was an on-call physician.
Wow.
And so when he came in to talk to me, he started telling me what he was about to do.
And this was supposed to deliver your baby.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I stopped him, and I told him, I can't be cut that way. I've already been cut that way 3 times, and my doctor and I have decided that I'm going to have a straight up and down cut to not risk a whole lot of problems giving birth for the 4th time via C-section.
Yeah.
So he was like, well, what we're going to do is get you in there. We're going to look at the old scars. I said, no, I need you to cut me the way that my doctor said he was going to cut me. So he told me that he was. So they came in, they did a spinal. I asked them not to do the spinal because when I had a spinal before, when I had my second born son, it started to wear off. So I already knew what I was up against. And I told them, I said, hey, those things were off. I want an epidural. And they were like, this is going to be fast because we got to get the baby out. So they did the spinal. So they took me back and me and my husband were in there and they started operating. They got in and it was a lot of scar tissue because that's what happens when you have a C-section. You get scar tissue on your uterus. However you scar on the outside of your body is how you scar on the inside, if you didn't know that. And I am a person, when I get scars, they stay for years. I got this when I was 4. Okay, so my scars don't go. So my scar tissue was so bad that my abdomen was attached to my uterus.
Wow.
So when they went in, he cut me the other way anyway, instead of doing what my doctor said.
So now we got a problem.
And so they couldn't get Trundle out. And they were pulling him out and trying to suction him because they didn't see signs of life. But they were trying to use terminology. They didn't know I was a nurse. I knew what they were saying.
Oh my God.
So I was already starting to panic, and my husband was trying to calm me down. So as they were trying to pull Trundle out, the spinal were off. And I started to feel excruciating, burning pain, and I could smell my flesh. And I told him, I'm about to pass out. And I started shaking, and my husband was like, what's going on? What's happening to her? What's going on? I said, I can feel it. I can feel it. They masked me and put me all the way to sleep. So not only was that trauma to me, but my husband had to watch me
in that.
go through that. And then my son was in the NICU for 7 days because they almost killed him. When all they had to do was listen. I asked them not to do a spinal. And I asked him not to cut me that way. And so after I gave birth to Trundle, I had to go back a week later because they left things on the inside. And I had to be put back to sleep to have another surgery. So they almost killed me twice. because they were not listening. Had he cut me the way he was supposed to, nothing would have been left behind. It was a traumatic healing process. And when I first called them and told them that something was going on, they didn't listen to me, y'all. I sat at home and bled for 2 days.
Oh my goodness.
Not to be graphic, but I had on a tampon and a super pad, and I bled through to my couch. My mother-in-law. Speak up for yourself.
Yeah.
Don't take no for an answer.
Mhm.
If they keep telling you they're gonna do what they're gonna do, dismiss. Get me somebody else in here.
Mhm.
Where is the administration? I have rights.
And make sure you have an advocate there.
Yeah.
Interview your provider because
Mhm.
maybe they don't have the skill set to do what's necessary. Because I've seen that.
Yeah.
The patient needed a specific type of surgery, but that physician hadn't done that type of
Mhm.
surgery enough to be registered, which their privileges
Mm-hmm.
the hospital has, and it's available for knowledge, so you know. So if you're talking to somebody, you can find that doctor,
Yes.
kick them out of the room, and we'll know.
Yes.
Get me somebody else.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have the right.
Because
That
I
is
don't
a
think
patient
that you
right.
have the skill set if you
Mhm.
can't do what I'm asking you to do. Because you can call my doctor.
Yeah.
When they go on vacation, they have an emergency number because, especially
Yeah.
having a baby with insurance, I had to pay for my baby before they ever even came.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
advocate for yourself, but you need to be interviewing them in the beginning when you're in that office in that clinic. If they're not listening to you before you go into the delivery
Right.
room,
Yes.
And you know, I don't have any children, but even hearing that, I'm thinking retrospect. I'm like, so when were you going on vacation? Did you tell me? And we need to I need to interview the other doctor that's gonna cover.
Exactly.
I know it sounds like, oh, okay, but we can't
No,
claim
it
for that.
happens.
But
It
I
happens.
that's how I'm feeling now because
the
every
hospital
time I
has
read,
a call scheduled for 3 months usually. In advance.
yeah, that's what I'm
Usually,
saying.
depending
Working
on the
with
facility.
with doctors, they plan their vacations months in advance. So I need to
Yeah.
meet the
Well, I
doctor
didn't-
that's gonna
yeah,
cover
right.
you.
Mhm. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's very wise because that ended up happening to me, the on-call doctor, and I didn't know them. And with something like childbirth,
Mm-hmm.
you don't want somebody that's random.
That's
that you
2
don't
lives in
know.
your hands.
Yeah.
That's 2 lives in your hands.
A random delivery.
First time
My
seeing
first
them at
baby.
the birth.
Yeah, no, it's
Um,
weird.
It is. Especially when you've gotten comfortable with somebody for 9
Mhm.
months.
Yeah.
And you already have a plan of care in place.
The
And
plan
you're
of
not
care
and you're not
changes.
being respected as a woman, as a person
Mhm.
that's knowledgeable of her own body
Mm-hmm.
and knows what she's talking
Mhm.
about because you've decided, and you're probably right. He probably was not skilled to cut me that way, but he
Mhm.
should have said that
Mhm.
Yeah.
because he almost killed me
Mhm.
and my child. So you could have left my husband a widow with my
Mhm,
other
with
3
kids.
children, and that wasn't God's plan. It's just the
Amen.
fact that you're
Yeah.
playing God
Right.
with my life.
Right.
And you
right,
took
right.
an oath not to do things like that. So if you are an OBGYN physician and you're watching, or maybe you know somebody that is, y'all need to start listening to these mothers.
Mm-hmm.
They know
Yeah.
what's going on. We've lived in these bodies. We know what's going on. And everybody is not seeking drugs. If y'all drug test us anyway.
Yeah.
So you know if we're on drugs.
Every visit.
Yeah.
You're always drug
Wow.
testing us because you're ready to call CPS if we are.
In a
So
minute.
don't fool these women into thinking that if they are on drugs, that nobody knows. They know
definitely know.
Yeah.
because they're testing you, and you don't
Every
even
single
have to
time.
prove that. They are allowed to do that.
Wow.
So
For the baby.
y'all know what's going on with these women. You need to start listening, and you need to act like it's your mom,
Yeah.
your daughter, your sister,
know,
your
because-
cousin. Like you care.
They might be doing the same thing to them.
Mhm.
And it's possible. But whoever you care about,
Treat 'em like
if
that.
it's you, you want to be treated like that.
Right.
And I need us as women, we need to get educated about the childbirthing process
Mhm.
because there's so much misinformation out there surrounding natural childbirth. If you read your A&P and you go back and read in history how women gave birth, it was not lying down
Mm-hmm.
because
It was always
anatomically that makes no sense. You're laying down and you're putting all this pressure on your back, on your hips, all
That's what
this
they tell you not to lay on your
when
back.
gravity
So,
is
think about
this
that.
way, right?
Yes,
If you're straight up and down and you are able to push, that eases the pain. That's why so many women have severe back pain
Yeah.
after giving
And I
birth
think they need
because
to
you're
see
lying on
doulas,
your
too.
yes.
Well, and if you think about it, who is it convenient for that you're in that position?
It's for them.
It's for them.
Yeah. It's not for the child.
Check out your birthing center.
Mm-hmm.
I was properly positioned,
Yeah.
but I happened to research where I wanted to go deliver my child as well. All that stuff is available online, your hospital ratings. I encourage you. I mean, and the people that's saying, hey, I'm on Medicaid and stuff, hey, y'all get good picks. Y'all see some of the best physicians. So you do have a pick of where you go and which facilities they use.
And be careful because sometimes you can be treated like you're on Medicaid.
And you
have to be careful and advocate. You need to know your stuff. You need to not just know your body, but be educated on giving birth, all the changes that your body is going to go through. I mean, if you can educate yourself on YouTube about other stuff, you can educate yourself about your body and what it's going to go through for 9 months and during the birth process.
Be checking your own blood pressure, making sure, because like a lot of women are having strokes after child.
Or during
seizures, things like that. But a lot of people are not healthy. I actually mentored somebody because they wanted to go straight to labor and delivery or the mother baby because everybody wants to do that specialty. But they were offered a job on a cardiac unit and they had turned down 3 other jobs, and somebody reached out and was like, can you talk to her, because she's coming straight out of nursing school and I feel like she's dropping opportunities. And I said, let me tell you something, people are not healthy. And if you can go work on a cardiac unit, when you go interview for that mother baby unit or NICU, whatever your heart's desiring in that field, they're going to take you because these women we're not healthy. America is not healthy in general. So I mean, like you said, educate yourself. Like check on yourself. I know a lot of people like, oh, I'm pregnant, I can eat whatever I want. Watch your blood sugar. Watch your blood pressure.
And using cravings as an excuse to eat bad, that's gotta stop. That's been going on for so many years that it's the right thing to do. Oh, I'm pregnant, I can eat that. I can eat the fast food, the fatty food, because so what you're doing is giving all of that to your baby, and most of it is no nutrients. And we wonder why our babies are being born with low birth weight, ADHD. All those things can contribute to autism. All those things contribute to that. Your diet really does matter. And they're going to talk, when you go to that appointment, they're going to check your service and send you home and listen to their heartbeat. They are not going to spend time educating you about the things you should be doing, eating, exercising.
Look for that provider.
You need to be exercising when you're pregnant. And they're not going to always encourage that, because if you are already overweight, they're going to assume that you're lazy. And that you're not going to do it. So they're not going to talk to you about it. So, you know, the best defense is education. That's our best defense to save our lives. And if you have everybody really doesn't have the level of education that's needed to even educate themselves. There are young girls who don't know anything. They know what they did and how they got it, and that's the extent. And it is our job to get the education out there and teach our young ladies that having babies before the age of 25 is dangerous. I had my kids before the age of 25. It's dangerous. It's dangerous because the female reproductive system is not mature enough. And they're not going to talk to you about that. They don't talk to you about that. You're going to come in, they're going to stereotype and judge you and keep it pushing. But when you are that young and you're not that developed, you usually have more complications, especially preeclampsia, which is high blood pressure during pregnancy. That is killing a lot of our women, Black women.
I mean, we read how many stories. Yeah, and it's very common. I think, you know, the thing is we don't talk in families, because what I found when I did my research for that topic was that there were generations that were suffering from preeclampsia, and nobody said, hey, I had high blood pressure, I had 200s over something. They just said, oh, I went into here and I had the baby and nobody actually sat down and talked about what happened and how to prevent it and aftercare. And so now we have generations where mama had it, I had it, my daughter gonna have it, but guess what, nobody said nothing.
When I talked to my doctor,
high risk,
and she was doing our little interview, Because first of all, I was totally against the pap smear because my sister had traumatic experiences because a provider, I saw her get 3 in a week and she kicked the man across the room. I said, Jesus, I'm never getting that. Wow. So my provider was like, honey, I'm sorry, you're 30. Yeah, we gonna do that. I said, no. But she took me in the room and she interviewed me. And my mama and my grandma had all their kids premature. My son was premature. Wow. And she like, but why? And I'm like, because they said they smoke. The cigarette pack say that.
Yeah.
She was like, Gabby, come on.
Yeah.
Let's call your mom.
Yeah.
So we called my mom, and it was pretty much the same thing that happened to me. So she was like, no, you high risk. You got blood pressure issues in your family. Come to find out, we have what's called incompetent cervix. Some of y'all might have that. The baby's just trying to jump out.
Yeah.
So it was too late when I found out that's exactly what it was, because I had to go meet the high risk woman. But she was like, I'm going to check you every week. I went to Miami and turned up. And then when I came back, I went to my checkup with the high risk, and I was already 2 centimeters dilated. Wow. And I was not even 23 weeks or 24. What is it, Veronica? That the baby's viable with insurance?
20.
No, not with mine. It was 23 or 24 because I had to go home on bed rest.
It's 20.
It's supposed to be 20.
No.
Wow.
What?
Certain insurance.
Tell me later what insurance.
Yeah, they don't do that right here.
She
Like,
had
let me
to.
know.
I went into the hospital. They kept me for the weekend. I didn't have any protein in my urine, so they discharged me to my couch for 2 weeks. I was 21 weeks. It was 23 weeks. They discharged me to my couch on bed rest and then told me to come back Labor Day and be on hospital bed rest. That's when the insurance would consider my baby a baby. So know that, because sometimes it's 23 or 24 with some insurances.
See, my son was premature, 24 weeks. And yeah, he was 1 pound, 10 ounces when he was born.
But that's just so sad to me that
you can tell me when
it's on your insurance.
Yeah.
You can't even have your baby.
Not the
Because
life.
your insurance
Not the
doesn't
life.
cover it.
My baby wouldn't. They had a heartbeat, but not to them.
Yeah.
Didn't they say why?
Took every out of my cheek.
We don't know why you went into labor. We don't know. I didn't even go into labor. My water wouldn't break. And so it was out of, like, he was like, you can try to have the baby normal. My doctor said that. Or we can go into C-section. And it was like, he was like, it's life or death. Either your baby's going to make it or you're going to make it. Yeah. Wow. And so obviously I want a C-section. That was not the plan. But if that's what you're telling me, then I need to get, then I need to do a C-section. And so they took me straight in and did the C-section, and they care flighted him. And he was in the hospital for 4 months up until his due date.
Wow.
Yep. And there was no reason why they could find why I was trying to have.
And do you know if that happened to anyone else, or
not that I know of? I was young as well.
Yeah.
I had him young, so.
And that happens to our young, especially black girls,
premature.
When they go in to have their babies, they are treated like the little girls that they are. They're dismissed. They're not told information. They just do what they want with them. I can't keep talking about that.
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna go.
Okay, so we are going to go on to the next topic because it's getting a little
heavy.
emotional in here.
Get a little deep.
And our next topic is disparaging healthcare amongst women when they go in to receive treatment. And so basically what that means is, as women, when we go into the ER, urgent care, or even to the doctor's office, we don't always get the best treatment because we're not being listened to, especially by male providers. We are not taken seriously. We're not considered trustworthy historians when there are certain things going on with us. It's pain being the number one thing that is often unaddressed with us and made to seem as if we're making it up.
Because, women only, react off the emotion.
Right.
So they'll say that basically, it doesn't hurt that bad. Not even just black women. We're going to say women right now. It's literally, they're being dramatic. She's crying. She's tearful. She's depressed. Oh, no. Yeah. I've seen it. I just saw it last week. It's ridiculous. And you really have to advocate for yourself in a hospital setting as a patient.
In the ER, you people, please get your provider.
Yes.
They're not investing in you because there is an opioid crisis and they're tired of hearing it. Yeah. And that's bad for you. And I'm not saying that it's right. But there's a lot of people that's not invested in their practice. There's some of y'all that go to work and hate your job, and
but
back there spitting in the food at the restaurants and stuff. But I'm not calling you out, and I'm not talking about you. But I'm saying it's the truth.
And healthcare is not excluded from that, is what Gabby is saying. So if it's happening in every other profession, excuse me, you know that it's probably happening. Well, we know it's happening in healthcare. And so I worked in the ER when I first got out of nursing school, and there were so many things that I didn't know that went on in the background. And you're trained, it's certain assessments you're trained to do. And when those assessments come up a certain way, you're automatically put on this treatment plan. You know, if you come in and you've been in at least twice in the last month for pain, the next deduction that's made is that you are drug seeking. Not that maybe something is going on and it's not being caught, not that you maybe have something autoimmune going on, because with women, we find out way later about autoimmune illnesses than men. And that's because we're just, like she said, we're treated as emotional creatures who are probably over exaggerating or thought to be over exaggerating what's going on. And like she said, in the ER, they're tired of the people who really are coming in there, they're faking, and they're trying to get pills and go sell them on the street. They aren't. And so all these protocols have been put in place. The state has it to where every time you get narcotics, your name is in the system. I hope everybody knows that. And they track it. The state troopers actually.
Yes, they do.
Hospital.
Yes, they track that
because we know
it's called care everywhere. So even now that even hospital systems that don't talk with the same electronic record, they're talking now because of care everywhere. So if you go to the ER in South Dallas and then you go to North Dallas because they didn't give you what you want, they're gonna see that you just left that other hospital, and so now you're going to be thought to be drug seeking. And it could be that you went seeking other care because they weren't taking you serious. But that's how it is. That's just like if a child comes, my son was injured at school. A kid pushed him off of the swing when he was in kindergarten. He hit his head on the metal pole. His head swole up to this size in the front. They took him by ambulance to the ER, and I had to meet them there. I wasn't even there when my son got hurt, but they treated my son like he was being abused at home. They went and questioned. They went and questioned my son without me, and I walked in and I caught the nurse, tore her a new one. Because what are you doing? Asking my son anything about at home. I'm not here. He is a child, and this happened at school. My son, at the age of 5, he told the truth. He told what happened, and he was confused as to why he was being asked those questions. He was like, huh? He was confused. So she got tearful. I'm just doing my job. If you were doing your job, you would not have waited till I went to the restroom to question my child. You would have said, this is what we need to do. These are our protocols. These are our steps. So even though there are protocols in the ER, some of the people there, y'all,
this is what I'm gonna say. So let's stop going to the ER unless it's an absolute emergency. Go to your primary care. Something happens. This is what you do. This is how you prevent this, because I don't know how this is gonna come across. A lot of times we're not. First of all, we don't have a primary care to go to. So when something happens, you go into the ER. After a while, I've been in the ER. After a while, we're gonna see you a lot.
Why are you steady
frequent flyers? Why are you steady come to the ER? They already checked you out on your paperwork. Go to your primary. Follow up with your primary. If they give you a referral somewhere, go ahead and follow up there. Stop going to the ER unless it's an absolute medical emergency. That's my little part on it.
Because they have something that's called a chief complaint. I mean, the main reason you're there. They're not going to do a total workup on you.
No, they're not.
That's not what that's designed what the ED is for. It's called chief complaint. You here with a stomach ache? We're gonna scan your stomach. We're gonna throw some.
Make sure they scan your stomach.
And throw you outside. If you don't say the right stuff, you didn't qualify for a scan.
So it's time for you to go.
We're gonna give you some GI medicine.
And the reason for that is again emergency. So I'm gonna try to find it out. If I don't find it out, you gone. So my advice is to get you a primary care. Especially ones that have, I don't know if all of them do, but I've been to plenty of them where they have x-rays, they have CTs in the office. Get you something like that and figure it out, because the ED is not where you need to be unless it's an absolute emergency.
Right.
And if you don't have insurance, we tell y'all all the time, we know that that's a lot of the reason that people go to the ER, because they can't afford the insurance, or they think they can't afford it, or it's absolutely too high, or the plans that are being offered don't work for the family because you're not sick all the time. So people don't want to pay $600 a month for insurance that they're not going to use. So there are other ways to have a primary care doctor. If you build a relationship, you can pay private.
Yes.
You can do payment plans. They do percentages off. What was the
Check
one
with
that
the billing
Chris
company.
told us about?
Oh, child, you probably have to go
Gosh,
to our
you have to
website.
watch our men show. And it's a website that you can go to, and they can get you in and see and get you with a primary care doctor as well, with no insurance. And it is not harmful to your pockets to where you feel like you can't do it. A lot of the office visits are like 60 to 100 bucks. Now, if you go to urgent care, they're gonna tell you that plus $500 and $600 for labs and stuff. But if you go to an actual primary care physician, they will work with you.
Yes, they will. They want to see you.
Yeah. So, find you somebody that is listening to you, that understands where you're coming from, that doesn't blow you off, and build a relationship with them. Because once you get one doctor that listens, it'll be a whole lot better for you than constantly having to go to the ER and see somebody different every time.
And the thing is, if you have the same problem over and over, you really need to see primary. You really need to get a referral to a specialist, period. Because that problem is not going away. It's not going to be fixed in the ED till it's too late. Now you're rushed into surgery. Now you don't know what's going on, and they tell you A, B, C, and D. That could have been prevented if you would have went to primary care.
Right.
Yeah. Now we know that there are emergencies. So when you have something going on and you like, okay,
get over there.
You need to go. We're not saying don't go, but
if it's 10 to 10 pain and you can't walk,
that's an emergency.
That's an emergency. You can't breathe.
But please don't go there if you've been told that you have high blood pressure and you have an excruciating headache and you know that you're not taking your blood pressure medicine. Please don't go to the ER. Take your medicine. Get your blood pressure down. Call your doctor if the medicine is not working, because somebody prescribed that to you. And if they're giving you medicines like maintenance medications for, chronic illnesses like high blood pressure, they're not going to keep seeing you for that. That's why they put a referral at the back of your paper.
And let me save you some money. Don't go to urgent care with that.
No,
that's not. You can go to Men in Clinic. They have their prices listed.
Yeah.
They'll tell you what you need, how much it's going to be. But you go to one of these quick standing ERs or urgent care, they're going to tell you we don't manage. Chronic illnesses.
Walmart will. You can get you a primary at Walmart. They have their prices listed too.
Yeah. A lot of resources out there.
And depending on what diagnosis you have, CDC actually has some programs that's free on cdc.gov. So use your daddy Google, find out what is my free resources for this. If you know you have high blood pressure, find out where you can go, because there is places.
And a lot of hospitals have it on their website as well. If you call billing, they'll give you resources, and on their website they have different resources. So they usually have clinics. Mobile clinics too.
Right.
In different communities, the hospitals do get together to decide how much charity care they're going to give. There's a free clinic. We have one in Denton. That doctor was overran because the community population, when we did our demographics, was like diabetes and hypertension.
Yeah, main thing.
That was the main thing that the community was overrun with, but it was hard for him to get funding and feed his family. So, it just depends on where you at. Look for those resources. Findhelp.org. I mean, you can find some stuff on there. Ask them about their cash prices. Sometimes it's cheaper than your insurance. Before you just throw out your insurance information, how much is your cash price? Because sometimes your co-payment could be higher.
Yep, it will.
Right.
And most of the time when you have insurance, all the time, the insurance company negotiates a rate with the doctor's office. It's called the allowed amount. So if you get a bill or an explanation of benefit and you see that term, the allowed amount, all that is saying is that the insurance and the doctor agreed that they cannot charge any more than 60 or 70 or 80 for that particular, code or visit. So if they see you and they try to bill 90 and the allowed amount is 60, they have to give up that 30 and write it off. They can't bill you for it.
Mhm.
So I need us to also start educating ourselves on how to read our bills when they come from the insurance, because if you get that and you see they're not paying it and you give them the $30, they're not gonna give you $30 back.
No,
So
never.
you need to know that's a non-covered benefit, because the doctor has already agreed with your insurance or the state to that price.
Can we do a TikTok on that? Because y'all, them explanation of benefits they gave me, I threw them in the top of the closet. I'm explaining to you, I didn't pay it all I'm gonna pay, and I ain't gonna pay
That's
no
it.
more.
Yeah. So we gotta start reading those. So Ashley, do you
Yes.
mind telling your story?
Oh, yes, of course.
Before
I'm
we-
Ashley.
Ashley.
817 manicure, y'all.
Yeah.
817 on every show. Ashley.
You got a face to the
I'm
name,
here.
baby. Face to the name.
Well, Veronica, I texted you first before
Yes.
I went to the ER. I was just having like excruciating stomach pains to the point where, I couldn't hold anything down. I couldn't eat anything, drink anything. At night, it seemed like it just got worse. I couldn't walk. I was like hunched over trying to get to the, like every 5 minutes. And, my husband's like, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know. And I felt like it was maybe my appendix. Because my son, years back, he had gotten his taken out. I remember some of the symptoms that he was having. And I'm like, maybe it's my appendix. So I think I texted you. I'm like, what are the symptoms? Help me. Like, I didn't want to go to the ER. I don't have a primary care doctor. So I'm like trying to get all the information I can, Googling.
Mhm.
So text Veronica. I'm like, okay, maybe I need to go. So I actually ended up waiting a few days before I went. And the pain was just still like crazy. Because I think I was having pain when I was doing her nails that day.
Yes.
Like not the pain, and I'm like, okay, give me a second. Like,
Yeah.
it was just,
We still at work.
Mhm.
it was just really, really bad. Like it was horrible. And so, anyways, I go to the ER, and I don't have insurance. I'm a self-employed, so it's hard to find insurance that's affordable, especially for a family of four. So I don't have insurance, or I didn't have insurance at the time, and I waited probably about a good 45 minutes to an hour. There was nobody in the waiting room, by the way, like no one in the waiting room, and I'm just like, okay, and so they finally called me back, and I'm sitting there. They asked me the questions, all the symptoms, and at that point, I'm not in that much pain, but I'm telling them like, this is what happened the past few days. And so the doctor finally comes in, literally probably spent about 30, 45 seconds in the room.
Mhm.
And then he prescribed me medicine. No blood work, no x-rays, prescribed me medicine.
Mhm.
And I texted her.
I was livid.
I'm like, wait, like, is this
I was
right?
livid.
She's like, what did they prescribe you? I don't even remember the name, but you said it was something for Crohn's or something like that.
Yeah, it was for people with IBS and other chronic stomach issues, and you would have had to have been tested for that.
Yeah, I remember you telling me
For
that.
them to just give you,
And it wouldn't be acute.
it's a chronic illness.
Yeah,
saying.
he's like, well, we're gonna just try this, and then if you have pain or you can't hold any stools or anything, like just watery diarrhea.
It was
Me and my
Yeah, no,
You gotta
that's what they gave her.
Mhm.
That's cyclamen.
Yes, that's the name. Yep. And I'm like, okay, like I'm just sitting there, like kind of like, no tests, nothing. You're just gonna send me home with medication, like not knowing if I'm allergic or anything. So it was like I didn't want to take it, but I went ahead just because, like,
That's not even gonna touch the pain. That's for abdominal cramping.
Mhm.
Exactly.
and exactly, I was still having the pain. Eventually, like it just started kind of just diminishing. But I had the pain, and I just felt like they kind of pushed me out. And like
They
you
did.
said, I didn't have any insurance. So it's like, here, okay, just give her this and get her out of here. She don't have insurance.
Mhm.
You still have rights, and you still want to
And
see
you have a right to care to know
You have a
what
right to
is
care.
causing the pain.
Mhm.
So they didn't do scans, they didn't do lab work, so we just gonna push a pill.
Exactly.
That's the
Yeah.
American healthcare system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they gonna try it. They tried it.
Mm-hmm.
They'll try it. My
And them
son
pills are still
screamed
sitting
for
up
10
there in the
years.
cabinet.
They gonna try it.
I didn't even
Yeah.
fin- I-
Yeah.
Why would you? You don't know if you have
Yeah,
a
it's-
diagnosis. That's not a
Yeah.
real diagnosis.
Yeah. So
Why would I take
assessment.
something and you didn't do nothing?
You didn't assess me. You
Mhm.
didn't do nothing.
Well, but most people, they blindly follow doctors and things like
True.
that without thinking, okay, you think, okay, this person went to school, he came in 30 seconds, wow, he must be a good doctor. Not thinking, this man don't give a crap about me and just gave me something to get me out.
Yep.
But nobody really thinks that until they have that bad experience.
And even the nurse, she came in, she's like, he just prescribed you med. Like, she was kind of dumbfounded, like, okay, like, just giving me my, sign off paperwork. And like, she's like, okay,
so as a
nurse,
nurse,
if you have any,
when you have a patient there done like that, you probably should advocate for your patient. So I would have went back to that doctor and said, so we didn't do nothing. So
she's like, so
how do we know what
advocacy comes with confidence? There's a lot of baby nurses out there that's everywhere,
and they're afraid of the doctors because they can be condescending and they can be rude. But what I can tell you is what I had to learn: they need you. Understand that. Yep. So as you get further in your career and build up your confidence, check them and keep it pushing. Because at the end of the day, it is their job, and they took it out just like we did.
It's our job to advocate for our patients.
So if we're gonna work together, then we're gonna get an understanding,
right?
Or we're just not gonna work together. But that's me been doing this for a long time, and I used to go back and forth with my doctor.
If you don't have the confidence, ask your charge nurse to see if she can think of anything.
Because the board of nursing tells us that we have to do it, just like they have a medical board to answer to. And I know that it's time for us to get ready to move on to the next topic. We do have one more story. We need to get the story in real quick, y'all. We just want to let Tamika tell hers. I wanted her to tell this story because it is happening to so many of our women when they are pregnant and it's time to go out on leave.
Oh my God.
So,
yes. Hi, everybody. I'm Tamika.
She's a nurse knows makeup.
Yes, nurse knows makeup artist. All these beautiful
Here
ladies. Yeah, so with my job, I was on my feet around the clock, and they did not allow me to sit at my counter because I do makeup, not just freelance, but also inside of a retail store. They allowed me to walk off the floor and take my breaks, but I was not allowed to sit at my counter. Even if it was a stool, I couldn't do that. So I was on my feet around the clock, like I said. I can say, I think it was about the 4th month or the 5th month when I first reached out to my doctor, asking, could you write me a letter for an accommodation? Like, I'm getting to the point where this sciatic nerve is bothering me. My hips are hurting. My legs are hurting. I just want to be able to sit. I'm not saying I'm just going to, just relax.
Yeah.
I need to sit every now and then. If I see a customer, I'll get up, I'll help them, and then I'm further on in my life. I'm not in my 20s. And right off the bat, they told me I was high risk just because of my age or whatnot. So they, sent me a letter or whatever for me. And, all they could do is, oh, Tamika, you can just step off the floor. So I dealt with that, still working, And then it just came to I believe May. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm like, I need to be on bed rest. Why can I be on bed rest? It's to the point where it's giving me anxiety. It's stressing me out. Can I just go or whatnot? And I reached out to my doctor, told her everything I was feeling. And it wasn't until I told her, this is giving me anxiety. I feel like I can't concentrate because I'm so focused on my pain. And I reached out to Veronica, which is my best friend. Yeah, exactly. And I was like, Veronica, what can I do? What can I say to my doctor to make the light bulb go off in her head so I can go home? And it's not even about not just working, but for my health, for the safety of my child or whatnot. What can I do to get off work? And Veronica was like, you got to be upfront and you need to let them know. Because I really didn't know what to say or how to say it to make them realize how serious I was, because I felt like she wasn't taking me serious or whatnot. And Veronica literally walked me through the process of, with FMLA and all of that. And I presented it to her that same day. That next day, she took me off work. So why couldn't you take me off work before? Why did it have to come to this? This was May. I delivered in June. It was just a couple of weeks.
What? Yeah. So you're 9 months pregnant.
Yeah.
And I'm steady on the floor.
And she's already diagnosed as high risk.
Yes,
you're already high risk.
Because of my
working through it.
And I told her that. I told her that she shouldn't have had to But when I realized the type of pushback that she was getting, since this is what I do every day, I told her exactly what to say. But what if I wasn't in her life?
Exactly.
Right.
Everybody is not blessed and privileged to have a healthcare professional that knows their shit in their life.
Yeah.
And that's ridiculous that I had to tell her word for word what to say to get off from work.
Because I was at work talking to Veronica, like we were texting, and then I stepped off the floor call. I kid you not, ladies, when I sent that message, instantly, I didn't even go back to work the next day. It happened just like that. Wow. And I was like, what?
And that happens. That happens.
And then, like, everything was done within 2 days.
And she called me scared the hell out of me. She was crying. I thought I was finna have to go up there and shoot the doctor. I said, what is going on?
She didn't mean
She was like, thank you.
She meant shoot him a bird. Shoot him a bird.
It's crazy because with my other 2 kids, because I have 3 that I've birthed actually, I worked my whole pregnancy with Ada. I worked up until I had him. He came on my day off. Now, Ava, she was a different story. My mother passed, so I took off. With Taylor, it's just like, okay, you might as well say I worked the whole time, but it just got to a point where I couldn't stand. It was killing me, and I would just lean on things.
I remember.
And I'm like,
that's like you're breathing.
And they wouldn't even
pregnant,
let you sit down.
You're late term, and it's just like, why do we have to have so much pushback?
It's more risk. I'm like, you telling me I'm high risk, but you not let me off my feet.
So did they ever refer you to a high risk specialist?
But I wasn't technically high risk. She just told me
you
I was
are.
high risk.
No, she didn't diagnose her.
She
said it, but she didn't diagnose her.
She did not diagnose me.
So that's the problem. That's the problem for me. That's the whole problem for me, because you are high risk. Your age alone, you should have saw a high risk specialist.
Yes.
If your doctor is not specialized in that, I'm sorry. Yeah, when you said that out your face, that's a diagnosis, because you're the professional. So if I'm a professional and I tell you that's your condition. Like, I just didn't chart that because again, I was trying to block what you needed. What you needed was a high risk specialist. What you needed was somebody to listen to you and advocate for you, because that's not what happened.
And that's what's happening.
Literally, just
but
because
then
of my
that
age
text
alone,
my scared him.
that was it. I hadn't had any other health issues. I haven't had any health issues. Nothing's in my chart, even still to this day, just because of my age. Well, I'm like, okay, if I'm high risk, why am I working and standing on my feet when I've asked for these
because you can handle that.
Because they think we're strong, right?
Yeah.
But your breathing was affected in May when you did our makeup. That's why I was like, your breathing. I
was
remember
shifting
that.
back and forth.
Yeah, and I was tired. Like, it wore me out.
And that's scary. That's my thing. As a nurse, when I take care of patients, I always put myself in their shoes and say, if I'm in that bed, if anybody, but not everybody does that. And the problem I have with healthcare is that we sit up here judging people and thinking they can handle it. They telling you they can't handle this, and they're having anxiety, and it should have been cut off at 7 months, if that. And so that's my problem with healthcare. And I'm very fearful, Lord forbid, I ever end up in the hospital, because I don't know if somebody's going to be there to advocate for me and know if they're not in healthcare.
Yeah, because they almost killed me this last time I was in the hospital. And if I wasn't a nurse, they would have took me out.
Yeah. I've seen it too many times,
yeah,
especially
had
medication errors.
Infiltrated with fluid.
Yeah.
They infiltrated my arm. And I told them, this IV is bad. You need to pull it. Oh, no, it's good. I won't even go into that.
Infiltrated, swollen.
They're not listening.
Sometimes it's education, y'all, and it's education level. And y'all was in nursing school, and what do they tell you? When you go in the patient's room, don't be direct about how long you've been doing it. Oh, I was direct off the top. If I feel like I can't do it, even after practicing as long as I have, I'm gonna go get somebody that I know can do it. But again, it's education. Like the woman that took care of Claude after she walked in and said, I ain't never taken care of this kind of patient in my life.
And you're not my nurse.
Oh, yeah, you are. Because guess what? I'm a bariatric nurse, and we're going to get this together, because I'm going to tell you what you're going to do. But you got a whole set of doctor's orders. But again, it's the confidence level. When we switch genres of care, you're not as confident, and you're not. We all had to do something the first time.
Right.
But again, it's going to get some help.
Yeah.
Right.
Which I'm telling y'all now, it ain't readily available in these places. We
go
tied
ahead.
too.
Go ahead.
I know.
Go ahead.
Something else. all my deliveries have been vaginal. My doctor was trying to induce me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she was not listening at first. I'm like, no, you're not going to induce me. I told you that.
Mm-hmm.
Plenty of times I was like, I know my body.
Mm-hmm.
I know what I can handle. And she gave me a due date. And I told her when my baby was going to
Yeah.
come. And I'm like, see, Doc, I told you, no, there's no reason to induce. This baby's going to come out when she's ready.
Inducing works with my
She
schedule.
And I was saying,
Yeah.
inducing works
Right.
with their schedule. She got vacation.
I work with a group of doctors, and they encourage mostly every woman in their practice to be induced
Their
because
schedule.
I can go on vacation and you're not gonna pop up in the ER.
Yeah.
And nobody.
It's done.
I mean, it's done.
They don't
I can get
have-
up at 5 o'clock
That
and go to the gym.
So
That's why
sad.
you have to research your doctors and
So
see,
sad.
like,
Y'all gotta
are
know.
you in this for money or are you in this because you love birthing
Yeah.
life?
Y'all
Because
gotta
there's a
know that
difference.
inducing labor is really
It's
not
hard.
safe.
It's hard.
It's
I
not
almost
safe.
died.
Like,
They
yeah.
induced me.
That medication is
Yeah.
horrible. Anytime
never
you
been
introduce
induced.
anything that's not naturally in your body,
Yeah.
that's a whole nother subject. But I'm just saying.
Oh, what you saying?
Time up.
Time.
Okay. So we
Just saying,
gonna
we
move
can't stay
on.
live on our own page, and you can just cut off them people.
God, Lord. Do we got some comments?
Hey, whoever's watching, the comment
Thank
section
you.
look hopping. We had some technical difficulties.
If you're my followers, drop some hearts, please.
Please do.
Green
Please
hearts.
do.
Oh,
Let them
Hey,
know that
honey.
you're
Give us a
Hey, what's
thumbs
that
up
shopping?
if you enjoy the
Tamika.
content so far.
Yeah, shout out your page.
Before I forget, like I said, I'm Tamika. I am an artist based here in the DFW. I am a freelance mobile artist, so I will come to you as well. And when I'm not traveling, you can find me at North Park. I have been on maternity leave, but going forward, you can book with me on my booking site. It's coming really soon. If you want to locate me, you can go on IG at ProMUA_T Jordan. Or you can go on Facebook and just type in my name, Tamika Jordan, TAMEIKA JORDAN. And yeah, that's how you can find me.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching, No
Thank you,
Tease.
guys.
Yeah.
Bye.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Yes, subscribe.
Hit that
Share.
button. Hit that bell button.
Hit the bell.
Wherever that bell button
Inbox
is.
me if you need help on that.
Yeah.
Inbox me if you need help.
Veronica can do tutorial videos. They've had to send me some. I promise she can do it on the phone. I got it.
Nurse notes is the brand new